listening to Reignite, a podcast about star-crossed lovers. I'm Frankie.
And I am at aka Stormageddon.
Avidus Rix has numbers flashing in his head, a beacon to where he thinks Arc Natanus wound up and where he'll eventually find Mason. Ryder walks with Avidus through the wreckage, reading terminal logs and rerouting power until they finally get to the SAM node. Unfortunately, there's no happy ending for Mason and Avidus.
I mean, are there really that many happy endings in this game, period? Yeah, I mean, it's like 50-50 at this point. You know, could go either way.
Depends on where you stand, I guess.
That's very true.
I feel like, well, we haven't gotten there yet, but I feel like some of the characters do get a happy ending.
Okay. I mean, that's all I can really ask for.
Yeah, I feel like some people do get a solid win that you can be happy about.
Okay. All right. Good to know. I mean, if we think about it, the whole game is really an unhappy ending as they canceled the DLC and we never got a direct sequel. So, you know, there's that. But enough about that.
Look, as much as I would have wanted the Quarian, story to be DLC, Kat Valenti wrote an amazing book.
Oh, well, I mean, look, as long as the universe continues to get extended, who can really complain?
The book was incredible. And I highly recommend. I highly recommend listening to the audiobook because Tom Taylorson, who voices Scott Ryder, is is the narrator for it.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
He's wonderful and he's so good. His Elcor is just chef's kiss.
I'll have to look that up on Audible.
That being said, not too many check-ins here. We have Drac and we have Jal. I had a couple of others, but you didn't get to that part yet, so we'll skip it for now.
Yeah.
And, I didn't even write down anything for Jal because it was really just Jal being, really hyped that he's going to share how stories are told in Angara culture with the rest of the people on the ship.
Yeah, he's, just really giddy in a kind of adorable way. And, you know, my writer's just oh, I can't wait to see what you and Gil cook up. Yeah, Jal is just kind of giddy to share his culture. And I mean, which is sweet. And that's kind of Jal's MO is he really just wants people to know about his experience and share what things are like for him with everyone else.
Yeah. And he mentions a couple of stories that are his favorites and he starts to get emotional just thinking about them. I'm just same, buddy.
Yeah, I've been there. Don't ask me about the Iron Giant ever.
Just same. Oh man, can you imagine showing Jal the Iron Giant?
He would be a mess. He would probably just
absolute
be a puddle.
Crying. I just want to show Jal every nostalgic movie from our childhood. He would not understand the cultural significance, but he would sob over Artax.
I would still say to this point, even if you have no context for who Superman is, that final scene in Iron Giant is sad as hell without context. I promise you. The music, the sacrifice, all of that is, I guess, spoilers for the Iron Giant. But that film has all the context it needs. You don't need to know who Superman is to know why that's emotional.
No, absolutely not. But I do also want to show him every different rendition of A Christmas Carol.
Of course you would. That's just your own personal brand, though.
But that's for Jal to be who is this grumpy man and what have they done to him? Anyway, I'm sorry. We got off track. I just got really excited about sharing media with Jal. It's
fine. We also had a check-in with Drac. It's just mostly an opportunity for him to thank you for what you've done and inform you that an important shuttle ship has gone missing. And Ryder very poignantly is well, it's just a shuttle. Who cares? He's no, you don't understand. The shuttle is carrying literally every life-saving seed for our entire colony, which in hindsight seems like a bad idea anyway. Just throwing that out there.
Just to keep all of the seeds in one place.
It just doesn't seem very smart.
I mean, what if you lose them?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they lost them anyway, and so Drac asks us, they have the last known coordinates of the shuttle and how to find it, and asks for us to assist him in retrieving the seeds for the colony's life depends on it. And of course we agree.
I'm going to tell you, Drac's loyalty mission is so good.
I believe you.
It's so, the dialogue is 10 out of 10. I cannot wait to get to it. It's a toss-up between if that one is my favorite for humor or if Liam's is.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm tied between Drax and Liam's for the humor aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I've still not decided who I want to sleep with, but to put it bluntly, but Drac is probably my favorite character. Surprising no one, since previously my favorite characters were Rex and Grunt. So, like, you know, I'm keeping with the theme.
Right. Everybody loves a Krogan.
It's true.
Hi, ma'am. Be quiet. Shh.
You can't shush a cat.
She agreed with you.
See?
I don't know if you heard that.
I did.
A little. Anyway, that's it for new updates. But if we head over to the VidCon, then we do have a call waiting for us from Avidus Rix, my boy.
Yep, he is calling to let us know that he has pinpointed the location of the Ark, the Turian Ark, and wants us to meet him there so we can find out what the hell actually happened finally.
He has these coordinates flashing in his head, and he believes that they are a signal from Mason directly, and that Mason is trying to, like, signal to him to come rescue him.
Yeah. Avidus still believes that he could be alive, and we want to help him rescue Mason as quickly as possible. And I totally didn't watch this VidCon and then rush off to do 3 other missions first. That didn't happen. Don't care what you've heard. It's not true.
That's fine. When we do get to the Ark, it is heavily scourge damaged.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it, like, sparkling throughout.
Yeah. It's one of the coolest, like, darker, more tragic scenes that you see on arrival. Because, like, if this game loves one thing, it loves showing ship arrival. Like, it loves those transitional scenes. And most of them are a pain in the ass, but this is really, like, hauntingly gorgeous. Like, you just see the entire Ark wrapped in scourge with the sparkling, like you were saying. It was just, like, it's really devastating to see, but, like, graphically impressive.
Speaking of devastating, though, Ryder feels it.
Yeah.
Ryder's like, this must suck to see. And bless Avidus's little heart. He says, I'm not really a feelings guy.
I'd say same, but it's not true.
I wish I wasn't a feelings guy. How do you do that, Avidus?
Right? Oh, not that it matters too much for this mission, but who did you bring with you?
I accidentally brought Jal and Drac. I didn't mean to. I wanted to bring Vetra.
Yeah, I ended up bringing... I have to turn a page. I brought Vetra and Cora. Again, it literally
Vetra
means
has
nothing.
No thoughts to weigh in. Okay.
No, there's literally nothing. It's the companions are there because you need companions, but like they don't interact at all. It's mostly just you and Avidus.
This is a rough walk. Like, this place is totally wrecked. Every so often you have to reroute powers so that way you can actually go through the ship. And along the way we read some logs between the captain, between Avidus and Mason, Turian leadership overall. And along the way, we start to realize what the relationship is between Avidus and Mason.
Yes, it's more than just friendship.
It's more than just Pathfinder second in command, which Avidus tries very hard to make it seem like. Like, he says, Mason is more than just a Pathfinder to me. Like, my boys were in love. My boys were so in love. Mason says in one of his letters to Avidus, I want your face to be the last thing I see in the Milky Way.
Oh, God damn it.
Like, that's so beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
Mason.
I also love that when we first start exploring, you're talking about the possibility that people could survive, and Sam says, well, considering the pressure and how the hull is mostly deteriorated, it is unlikely anyone survived on the ship. And then Ryder goes, thanks, Sam. Always a ray of sunshine. And I laughed out loud. I was like, amazing. I love their banter. It gets better. It's clear they're trying to recreate an Edie Shepard relationship. And at first it felt a little forced, but now as the game goes on, like, it does feel pretty natural based on the characters. But it is very much clearly them trying to make lightning strike twice. Like, they want another snarky, fun AI that's learning to live in love, as it were. But Sam does have his own personality. Sam is not just a copy pasta of Edie. they are their own AI in their own right.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I think that Sam gets better over time, and that an argument could be made that that is done intentionally in the narrative because over time he learns. So he picks up things from his interactions with Ryder.
Right.
So so it would make sense for their relationship to grow, for him to grow as a program, as a person, through what he experiences through Ryder. So in addition to the emails that we read, the logs that we read, we also get an audio log of what happened when the Scourge attacked. Well, I say attack, when the Scourge struck, I guess. Attack seems a little more active than what actually happened. Mason is dying. His suit has been damaged by the Scourge. He's trying to get to Avidus. It's like 30 meters away. And he says, oh, so an easy stroll, while he's dying. And poor Avidus is so desperate throughout this entire thing. He just wants to hear Mason's voice and to hear that Mason is okay. But he never gets that.
No, and up until the end, he keeps insisting that he's got to be okay. He has to be here. Even by the time they get to the Sam node of this ship, like the whole time, Avidus is very much like, this can't be it. I know he said, like, you know, it sounds like he's dying. It sounds like he's suffering, but he must have made it through. It's Mason. He can't die, you know?
But when we do get to the Sam node, we find out that Sam has just been following Mason's orders. Find the Turians a home. So he went to where the Turian Golden World was supposed to be and help Avidus take care of the Turians.
And this whole, the coordinates in his head, all of this was designed to bring Avidus back so he could become Pathfinder. And at first, Avidus absolutely does not want it.
Which, isn't that the kind of leader you want, ultimately? Someone who doesn't have ambitions who doesn't have the selfish desire to be the one in charge.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can make an argument for either way when it comes to leadership, right? But like the idea is you want someone who not necessarily doesn't think they're capable, but definitely doesn't want the power grab, doesn't want the control. Like if they are like, oh, I shouldn't be in charge, that's not for me. Like, but you know that they are smart and clever and understanding. Like those are the kinds of people you probably do want in power. But arguably, depending on the role of leadership, you do want someone with a wealth of experience, and giving someone who's also inexperienced that position can cause problems as well. So I think it's case by case, but in cases, especially through we've seen in the Mass Effect world, those who are like clearly capable but don't necessarily want it are Andersons, are Avidus Rixes. They do the best job with it because they care about those around them, and that's what drives them.
Yeah, and Ryder does say, like, you're already doing the job of Pathfinder. You're the one who has stabilized the Turian community. You're the one who has been hunting for the Ark all this time. Like, so what? You used to be a Spectre. So what? You're used to working alone. You can still kind of have that, but you're a symbol for your people now. Like, you were a symbol for your people before we found out that Mason was gone.
And so he reluctantly accepts, and Sam does the transfer. I just think it's interesting that different Sams sound different, right? Like, because Sam is an acronym for the technology, not necessarily the name, although it's used as a name. And I wonder why the voices are different. Like, is this voice meant to replicate a more Turian sounding voice? Because I can't really tell, because Sam's voice is already echoed as an AI. And so that typical echo we hear on a Turian voice, you can't really hear on this. But I am curious, and I don't know if it's written anywhere, if the different voices are designed just so you can differentiate the Sams, or is it to make the host race of the Sam unit more comfortable because the voice is more what they're accustomed to hearing?
Right. I think it's supposed to be reminiscent of the species that they are working with.
I mean, also language is a funny thing in Mass Effect because everyone has universal translators all the time.
Right.
And like that technology, though mentioned in, I believe, the original trilogy and here, is never explained. They never go into great detail of how it works. Like,
which I kind of love. I don't want to know how it works.
Of course not. No, I mean, it's akin to the Doctor Who TARDIS language translator bubble, and that the TARDIS just puts out a bubble as big as it needs to be for the Doctor and companions to understand, and whoever they're talking to understand each other. I just think those kinds of Deus Ex Machinas for language are kind of really funny. That said, I do love when we do hear these races talk in their own language, and I'm curious how that works too. You know, like it's just interesting to me when we have these kind of universal translators that when they make conceits, we never know why. It's just very funny to me.
Well, there are some words that just don't translate. Like when Ryder goes to the Tavatan and says, my translator is not picking that up. I don't know what that is. So the bartender explains it. Like a Tavatan is like a place that feels like home. And it can be used as like a bar or a person or like... And Ryder says, what if you want to meet your Tavatan at your Tavatan? And the bartender is like, okay, here's some alcohol.
Yeah,
I would
enough.
like you to leave now.
Yeah, you gotta go. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
That's really it for Arc Natanus. We found the Turian Pathfinder.
Yeah, what I love about this mission is how it's threaded through everything. I mean, we meet Avidus pretty early on in our career, and we save him from some of the Ket and like help his crew on the ground out a bit. But like, I really enjoy that we're starting to see the ends of missions that we picked up the threads of so early on.
Yeah. Like, we had the Turian Arc Not Dead Yet on Havarl. We had the exploration of Eladin, where we had to look at all the damaged pods and see all the dead Turians and be sad about it. That sucked.
Yeah,
that made me sad.
Yeah. But I think it's a really great way to do a mission like this. Mass Effect has a habit of sometimes just rushing you from path to path to path. They let a lot of the missions in Andromeda breathe in a way that I feel like some of the missions don't get to, especially in Mass Effect 1. You kind of just run from thing to thing. But I mean, also that, again, this speaks to the momentum of the games, right? Like we've talked about the original trilogy being very action-packed and it's designed to move at a brisk pace, whereas this is more about exploration and understanding and curiosity. And so the more leisurely pace of these missions and the scope of everything makes more sense as you are literally playing Star Trek Discovery here and literally discovering new worlds and new people. And so that leisurely pace definitely does make sense.
Yeah. A lot of the missions, when you complete a step, you see them go on hold. And they don't trigger again until you've completed something else or you've completed another mission. And, you know, it's nice. It gives you a chance to be like, okay, I have done that. Now I can go do something else for a while. I don't feel this urgency that I have to, like, finish all the things at once.
Yeah, totally. And I like, and I think we've talked about this before, but the on-hold feature, I think, is brilliant. Like, I think more games need that. I think identifying that you can't move forward with a mission is important, especially games like this with open worlds where you want to see a bunch of different things. If I know it's on hold, I won't try and figure out what to do next. I'll just go and do other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we had that problem in Mass Effect where if you wanted to complete a mission, but you didn't get to the part of the game where that planet was available, you couldn't complete that mission. And you had no idea unless you looked it up.
Well, we talked about this in our Legendary Edition Roundtable also, that episode, that the biggest flaw of that was shown when they re-released the trilogy in the Legendary Edition, and you boot up Mass Effect 3, and within 3 missions of the start, you get every DLC mission open to you. You get a bunch of emails, and then you just have access. And that doesn't make a ton of sense. Happens in Mass Effect 2 also. Like, you can access Overlord pretty damn early because you just get an email about it. Same with the Shadow Broker. Because remember, we had to we had to avoid a certain conversation option so we didn't kick that thing off, because once you start that, you can't really stop it. And so this game doesn't seem to have that kind of flaw. It's a learning experience. And like, again, I'm still undecided on how I feel about the game. I am having fun playing it, but my overall rating or review, I guess, which I'll give some semblance of, though not as oppressive. Like, I'll give my honest thoughts at the end because I'm still calculating. I'm still calibrating, you might say.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. I would actually fire you from this podcast if you did.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't then. I just said if I say. But Yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm just not sure how well this structure has worked based on how they presented it. Clearly, it has its issues, but we'll get more into that as we go.
So, a conversation that came up between myself and John about Avidus is Avidus either a very private person or he grew up in an environment where he had to be that private, and I don't really know what it is.
So, like, I mean, also part of it is my initial, the queer in me says, oh, well, he's queer, so he kept it close to the chest because you can't trust people, and and we don't know how queerness is accepted in Turian culture, right? I have to assume, since it's a military-based world and culture, probably not well, but that's based on my own human biases. I'd like to think the future is better than that, but we don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that odd for Turians. I mean, think about the other Turians we've met. Vetra's been pretty open since day one, but like Garrus wasn't in the beginning. Like, he shared his quest for revenge pretty easily, but we didn't learn about his father or his family for a while. And so I think that maybe it's the military culture and the nature of Palavin that breeds this kind of close to the chestness. It does feel very indicative of the Turians we've met, but I don't know. We've only met 10 Turians out of however many are on the planet, so it's hard to say. But to me, it seems pretty ingrained in the culture just based on the examples we've seen.
Also, Vetra wasn't raised on Palavin, really. Like, Vetra left before she had to do her mandatory military service. But also, if you read these missives with Mason makes no bones about it. Somebody says, like, hey, you and Avidus should come by my room so we can have a drink. I got this alcohol that you like. And Mason's like, we'll be there. You know, Abby likes that.
Yeah.
Like, he's much looser with the information. I feel like everyone knows that Avidus and Mason are together because Mason, like, doesn't care. And he's just like, yeah, obviously, Avidus is my boyfriend. But Avidus is like, I wish you would stop.
Yeah, I mean, also, I've met people who in very happy relationships just don't like talking about their relationship with other people, which is totally fine. I mean, it's perfectly reasonable to want to be private about that stuff, and you don't owe anyone the details of your relationship on any level.
Absolutely true.
We just also live in a hellscape that's terminally online at all times, where everyone has to share everything, myself included. This is a dig at me more than anybody else.
Yeah, that's kind of it for this episode. Do you have anything else you want to talk about Turians, about Natanus, Mason, Avidus?
I mean, I think we summed it up pretty well. I think that this mission, though short in it of itself, is very much a kind of microscope on the Turian culture, Turians outside of Palavin, Turians in another galaxy, and like we get to see. I mean, I'll say this: my one complaint is that we buried a gay, we buried a queer, and like don't love that.
I will speak against that because there are out and vocal queer people in this game aside from Mason.
Sure.
I'm actually kind of okay with it. It's not really burying your gay because he's not the only queer person.
Right.
Like, there are other queer people in this game.
Yeah, I'd say that it's still that trope, but thankfully it's not the only queer relationship in the game, and so, you know, it's not like they killed the one gay character. It's they killed a gay character, which is fine because they've also killed a lot of other characters, so I guess.
Yeah, like, it's not like they've only killed the gay character. Like, it stops being that trope when it's been balanced in so many other areas.
Right.
So, would I have loved to see Mason and Avidus just be happy and together? Yes, I would have absolutely loved that. However, I'm not quite upset that Mason is gone because, like, we have a Turian Pathfinder, we have a new Turian Pathfinder. I kind of like this trend of Ryder replaced Alec and Hager replaced Reka. And now we have Avidus replacing Mason. And this idea that your original plan goes to shit.
It is very funny, that pattern of like, I thought for sure that it's just going to be us. We're going to be the only new Pathfinder now. Literally, I mean, in some cases you can still have the current Pathfinder, but for the most part, it's everybody got fucked.
Yeah.
Here
like,
we
you
are.
could have kept Reika.
Right.
You could have.
Yes.
But the way that you and I have played so far, there is no original Pathfinder.
Correct. We're all new babies just learning
until
our way.
we get to the Asari arc and we see what happens there.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Yeah, I don't believe you at all, but it's fine.
It'll be great.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely nothing bad happened.
Liar, liar, liar.
Anyway, Matt, do you want to pick a character?
Do you want to read your advice first?
Oh, I do have advice. You're right.
Look, I'm just here to keep the ship on the rails, because ships are on rails. Quiet. Just read the advice.
Now is a really good time to check on some outstanding side missions that you might want to complete. In your journal, the loyalty missions are filed under allies and relationships. Take a glance over there and see if anything is outstanding or preventing you from triggering the actual loyalty mission. For example, I have one thing more to do for PB before her mission will officially trigger.
Okay.
And, like, you'll know that you're triggering the official loyalty mission because, like, it'll just be very obvious. Like, it won't be PB saying, I need you to fly to Kadara and go to this remnant site and, like, pick up this piece of tech for me. Like, that's not it, right? Like, it's Drax saying, okay, so the seed vault is missing.
And this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's Liam saying, I fucked up and my friend got kidnapped and I need your help. Like, it's Vetra bringing Sid's thing to you. Like, it's stuff like that. But we should have pretty much everything triggered by now. You may have to do a mission or two for Jal, but they're, like, short, like, fetch missions. So you should be able to queue everything up.
Awesome.
And now, please pick a character.
Okay. Do you have Mason?
I don't have Mason, but I do have Avidus.
I feel like I don't know if we did Avidus. Let's do Avidus Rix.
Avidus wasn't on the list. I added him today.
Oh, well, then we might as well do Avidus Rix since you just added him.
Talk about a love you would move across the stars for.
I feel like this is so predictable, right?
You're predictable.
I mean, obviously my spouse, Sarah, I wasn't sure if I was going to bring this up on the podcast because it's not super relevant and verbally not a lot is changing, but I recently, as of when we are recording, came out as pan and non-binary, they, he pronouns, and I'd been talking about it a lot just in some private spaces because I've been struggling with gender for a while, and my spouse has been not only incredibly supportive and understanding, but not non-judgmental on any level. Like, I've worn lipstick before, but I wore lipstick the other day because I was like, I don't know, let's try it. Let's see how I feel. And I liked how it looked. And they didn't say anything. Like, I brought it up and they're like, oh yeah, I know. You know, how do you feel with that kind of thing? But like, they didn't go, you're wearing lipstick. Why are you wearing like none of that. Like, I'm just very lucky to have a partner it continues to see me for me, even when I don't. And I would absolutely move mountains and galaxies to be with them on every and any level because I'm very lucky to have them.
Aww.
I know.
That's so gay.
I know, it's so gay. So I came out as bi many, many years ago, too long ago at this point, and I recently came out as pansexual and non-binary. That to say though,
because Matt wants to copy me.
I do want to copy you. I just want to be just like you. Why would I want that? Why would anyone want that?
Yeah, right.
I will say though, to be clear, I have my reasons going from bisexuality to pansexuality, but it's mostly that I'm a monster fucker, let's be real. But like, I am of the camp that they are more or less the same. You make your bones about why you feel that the distinction applies to you, but like, bisexual is not I just date men and women binary. Like, I am of the camp of that and believe that. I just felt finally, and I'd been thinking about it for a long time, that pansexuality fit me better. And so anyway, enough of that. What about you, Frankie?
I am extremely lucky because I'm polyamorous and I have two amazing people that I would travel to any galaxy for. John, my spouse, and Casey, my partner. They are both chaotic Aries. They are both history nerds.
You have a type, obviously.
I have a type, apparently, and it's academics who are academic about shit. And I love them both so much. I'm very lucky to have them both in my life. Casey and I started dating around the time that I came down with Bell's palsy, and that was really scary for me, but Casey was really supportive. And John has also been incredibly supportive as I go through my gender journey. And like, instead of seeing me as a woman, John definitely sees me as a non-binary person and jokes that he is a little gay because he has to be, because his spouse is non-binary and is not a woman. So he's in a queer relationship and he knows this.
Yeah, way to make your spouse gay. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work.
Sure are.
But I am incredibly lucky to have them both in my lives. And yeah, Casey and I will be together a year in August, and John and I will be together 4 years in October. Well, married 4 years in October, not together. I would say John and I got officially together in 2016, so that'll be 7 years. Yeah, that's right. 7 years.
As of when we're recording, it's a week after my 7-year wedding anniversary with my spouse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep. Gay.
We're so gay. Well, if you're one of our partners and you listen to this, be sure to buy us flowers because we said so many nice things about you.
Please. Also normalize getting mask presenting people flowers. Just do it.
And if they have cats, you should make sure that the flowers you get them are not poisonous to their cats.
Yeah. Yes, obviously. For that one person who's probably listening.
All right. That's enough of that.
That is enough of that. So I'm very excited. In our next episode, we will start our loyalty missions. Loyalty missions are a thing that kind of became pretty regular in the Mass Effect series after the second game. They are not as cut and dry in the third Mass Effect game, but definitely in Mass Effect 4, we are back to the Mass Effect 2 style. Like, here's a character you really like. We've gotten to like the pinnacle point with that character. Now time to really learn what they're about. Go on their loyalty mission and earn their love. And we're doing it for Cora. I've been very vocal about one of my possible love interests and one of my favorite characters. I love how like kind of no nonsense, but also secretly soft Cora is. Cora is both a badass and also a fangirl, and I love it.
She's a weeb.
She's such a weeb. It's great.
She's a weeb about the Asari. I love it.
It's so good. And so we'll be taking that on in our next episode.
We do not currently have a guest lined up for that episode.
So it'll just be us two knuckleheads.
If you like what you heard here, please follow us on social media. We're at ReignitePod on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram, facebook.com/reignitepod, or you can send us an email at reignitepod@gmail.com. Speaking of emails, we got another email from Commander Blood. Thank you so much for like barreling through our backlog and like getting to know us through this podcast. It really means a lot that people listen to this and, you know, just understand who we are and what we're about and why we do this. And I feel like you're someone who gets that. So thank you again for all of your kind words.
Also, Commander Blood, I was not insulted. I thought it was very funny. I'm glad that I grew on you. And
yeah, he grew on me too. So I get it.
Like a fungus. Because I'm a fun
makes
guy.
Sense because you are a fun guy. Yeah.
God, we're so broken. We're just the same person. It's sad.
Same character, different font.
Exactly. But thank you, Commander Blood, for writing again. I'm very impressed how quickly you got through our backlog. Feel free to tell all your friends about the show. But seriously, thank you for writing us. We read every email we get. We read every review we get, and we love it. The fact that we have such an incredible community that knows us so well and wants to be a part of this journey is endlessly flattering and humbling. We have the best listeners in the entire damn multiverse. So thank you.
We're getting real emotional today.
Yep.
If you would like to follow us individually, you can find me on Twitter at iHoardLibraries and Matt at DJ_Stormageddon. Why are there so many syllables in saying yours out loud?
Because I like to make things difficult.
You really, really do. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcatcher if you can. It helps us get seen so other people can find us.
We're also members of the Certain Point of View podcast network. You can visit certainpov.com to find more nerdy podcasts, each with a unique point of view. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server and join in the conversation. We're currently, of course, as always, still talking about Mass Effect constantly. It's mostly me posting links to the absurd merch that BioWare continues to email to me personally every single day. It's enough, BioWare. I get it. You want me to spend money. But if you do buy the N7 bed sheets, please send us photos, because that's awesome.
I think I'm gonna buy them because they're not bed sheets. It's a comforter and pillow shams.
That's true. Yeah, it's not a whole bed set.
It's not a whole bed set, and I feel like they missed an opportunity to have a whole bed set. I don't know why they didn't just like go a little further.
I mean, what you need to do now though is buy that set and then put your body pillows under the covers in your bed.
I only have one currently.
Well, then that one, just tuck them in.
I didn't get the Tally one or the Thane one because I don't think I can justify having 3 body pillows. Like, I could barely justify the Squishmallow I bought myself because I was depressed that one day.
Well, I mean, if
I say as if I'm not depressed every day.
Right, exactly.
Anyway. If you're enjoying our Andromeda shenanigans, then you should catch me over on Archives of the Dragon every other Monday, where my spouse, Professor John Bradley Lestrange, leads us through the wild unknown outside the Helios cluster in Andromeda. We're super gay, it's super femme, is girl power, but also, like, non-binary. Like, it's incredible. We're all so unhinged and feral. And there are no humans on our team. Like, we're all aliens. It's incredible.
Good.
I play a Drell Vanguard. My best friend Amberly plays a Quarian infiltrator. Spectre, who has been on the show before and will be on the show again, plays a Krogan sentinel, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Velvet, who has also been on the show before, Velvet Divine, plays an AI medic.
Amazing.
Like, no humans. There are no humans in this show. I kind of hope John introduces a human NPC so we can all be like, how did you... Where did you?
Where did you come from?
But anyway, you can catch that over at twitch.tv/Arc of the Dragon.
You can support me best by going to djstormageddon.com. That has links to all the podcasts that I do, my merch store, my Ko-fi page, my Twitch page. Hey, it's Pride Month, and support your local pansexual thembo by going to buy my merch or buying me a coffee, any of that stuff. But yeah, I don't have anything specific to plug at the moment. I am working on a few things. So more information. I may or may not be the editor of a show that we've talked about on this podcast before now. So more on that in the coming months.
This Pride Month, instead of giving your hard-earned money to a corporation that slaps rainbows on things, give your money directly to us, the gays.
Yes, exactly. We even have our own merch store. Why don't you tell them about it?
That's true. We'd like to thank Red Sphinx for our It's Okay to Be a Marshmallow t-shirt on Redbubble, featuring our favorite marshmallow, Caden Alenko. You can find more of his work at Chaos Does Art on Instagram.
We'd also like to thank the incredible Carter's husband for developing more amazing t-shirts that you can find over at certainpva.com or on Teespring. Go buy our merch. Support your local gays instead of the corporations.
I'm just saying, my Venmo is Frankie Brad is hella rad, and my usual Starbucks order is about $10.
Yeah, do it. Give the gays the money.
Thank you to David Boyle for redesigning our logo like a champ. We love you and we appreciate you. And finally, thank you to JT Music and Andrea Storm Caden for our new theme music. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, aka Stormageddon.
Good luck, Pathfinders.
Hi, I'm Matt, aka Stormageddon, and I'm the host of CPOV Autographs at certainpov.com. It is a bi-weekly interview series where I interview folks from all over the arts, from writers to comedians to magicians to musicians, even actors, historians, podcasters, pretty much anyone who's willing to chat with me for a little bit. If you like interesting conversations with even more interesting people, go to certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, music is life, and life is good.
CPOV.
certainpov.com.